I remember the story of Helen. She was 6 years of age, and she was playing the piano, and unbeknown to her parents, she overheard them say, "Oh, Helen is so clumsy. She'll never be able to play the piano well." So ever thereafter, whenever Helen played the piano, she played clumsily to prove to the world that what her parents said about her was true. When she grew up and she was 13 and 14, she always played clumsily to prove to the world that what her parents said were true. Not only that, when she used her fingers to sew and to cook, she was clumsy to prove to the world that what her parents said about her was true. I said to her, "My dear child, you can't be held responsible for the actions of other people, even if they be your parents. Your parents probably meant that you were clumsy at that time. You weren't thinking of your piano playing. They didn't meant to think that you were clumsy forever." Yes. She got the message, so she removed that little scar within her, because a year later, she played better.
90% of the men and women alive today have an image of themselves as distorted as the reflection in a funhouse mirror. Since they see themselves as distorted and warped, they act that way. The first and basic truth of cybernetics, the one you must learn in order to unlock the door to a better life, is image is all. The full implications of this all-important truth started to take shape more than 30 years ago, as a young plastic surgeon began to sort through the photographs that were the record of his professional accomplishments. By giving his patients a new face, he often found he had given them a new self-image. It was no longer necessary for them to hate themselves and to believe everyone else hated them too. But always, there were a few puzzling exceptions. Girls made beautiful again, men saved from ugliness, with no change in their personality. It was then Dr. Maltz began to be fully aware of the implications of self-image. What you are and look like to the rest of the world means nothing. All that counts is what you look like to yourself. You are happy or unhappy, sick or well, successful or unsuccessful, only as your own self-image demands that you be. That plastic surgeon was Dr. Maltz. And it was then he began to be aware of the importance of the self-image. Today, Dr. Maltz is internationally famous. Millions have read about Dr. Maltz and his discovery, and still more have heard about him.
Well, that was in 1967. Here we are, nearly 30 years later. The original Psycho-Cybernetics book continues to be a resilient bestseller, largely thanks to one person telling another how it has changed their life. Over 30 million people worldwide have been positively influenced by Dr. Maltz's work. Now, you're about to benefit from the ultimate system for personal success based on all of Dr. Maltz's works, Zero Resistance Living. First, though, we'll travel back in time and sit in as Dr. Maltz personally discusses the important history of Psycho-Cybernetics.
Why is self-image so important?
The self-image sets the boundaries of human accomplishment. It is the key to your personality, to your behavior, to your character. Enlarge the scope of your self-image through confidence, and you enlarge the scope of what you can do in this world to reach self-fulfillment. Most people have an idea that they are either born to succeed or born to fail, that they're happiness-prone or unhappiness-prone. That is not true. Many years ago, a beautiful young girl of 18, Anna by name, came to my office. She was in an auto accident. Her left cheek was disfigured. I gave her back her beauty. She looked into the mirror and said, "I don't see any difference." I showed her the pictures taken immediately after the accident, showing her scar. She looked at the pictures, then into the mirror, and finally said, "Well, I see a difference, but I don't feel any different." I probed into her background, into her past, and ascertained that 2 years before the accident, she was engaged to a young man who suddenly ran off and married someone else. That left her with hurt feelings, with feelings of depression, resentment, that she was nobody. In other words, she had an inner scar long before she had the scar on her face. I said to her, "My dear child, you can't be held responsible for the actions of someone else." She got the message. A year later, she married another man. It suddenly dawned on me then that as a plastic surgeon, it might be a wonderful idea if I could write a book for the 90% of the people all the world over who have normal faces but some inner emotional scar, write a book for them to show them how they could be their own plastic surgeon and remove the scar within them that they put there, remove it like Anna did. And so I wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics.
What does Psycho-Cybernetics mean?
Well, cybernetics comes from the Greek word which means a helmsman, a man who steers a ship to port. And Psycho-Cybernetics means steering your mind to a productive, useful goal so that you too can reach port. And what is your port? Peace of mind. My friend Salvador Dali, the famous Spanish painter, gave me a painting of his concept of psycho-cybernetics. In the center of this painting is a world divided in two parts. The left is a world in shadow from frustration. Here you have man's image shrunken to the size of a small potato, moving away from reality, from the world, towards the black angel of destruction. Below you see a ship without any sails, about to capsize in the rough seas of frustration. The other half of man's inner world is a world of sunlight through confidence. Here man's image is 10 feet tall, and he's walking towards the sun. A swallow is flying toward the sun. Below, you see a ship in calm waters about to reach port. And what is this port? Peace of mind. And so we, as individuals, must realize that we have two worlds within us. A world in shadow from frustration and a world in sunlight from confidence. And we can easily learn to walk away from this shadowed world of frustration into the dawn of a new world through confidence. Therefore, the first fundamentally important lesson of psycho-cybernetics is that you have a self-image and that you can change your self-image.
I've heard that people are going to be the way they always are going to be by the time they're in grade school. How can older people change?
Age doesn't mean anything, because at any age, if you learn that negative feelings make your image shrink to the size of a small potato, and if you learn to turn your back on the failures of the past and concentrate on the confidence of yesterday and use that confidence today, now, N-O-W, in your present undertaking, you will learn how to succeed in life. There are 11 other lessons or steps, and the second one is that you have a success mechanism within you, a self-servo mechanism that will steer your mind to a productive goal if you will let it. For example, when I want to pick up this pen, I pick it up successfully without effort. But as a child, I zigzagged many, many times before I knew how to do it successfully. I forgot the failures, and as a child, I just remembered the past successes and used it now as an adult. In the same way, you could learn to pick up success and happiness by forgetting your past. If in a present undertaking you want to achieve a goal, you call upon your past experiences, the sum total of which is in a tiny electronic computer, a tiny tape recorder in your midbrain. If you call upon your past successes, you succeed. If, on the other hand, you call upon your past failures, you fail even before you start, simply because you cannot think positively with negative feelings